friends. This is James and Cara, and we are Kerouacs Cruising.
We are taking you on a journey, traveling the country with our dogs and finding remote places where the dogs
and us
can roam free and play while we discuss life's growths, beauty, and some struggles along the way.
We recommend pairing our episodes with our blog at Kerouacscruising.com, where we organize accurate information in an easy-to-follow format, removing all of the conversational goodies.
The link for this episode's blog post is in the show notes.
We encourage you to join the conversation by commenting where you listen, engaging with us on Facebook or Instagram at Kerouacs Cruising, or email us at join@kerouacscruising.com.
In the meantime, thanks for tuning in. Sit back and enjoy the journey.
Good morning.
Hi, folks. How's it going? This is James and Cara from Kerouacs Cruising, and we are cruising today in parts of Idaho and Montana.
We're doing, I think we previously mentioned it in another episode, the booze cruise, except we're not really boozing.
It's a loop that starts in Sandpoint, goes out toward Clark Fork to Highway 56 from Highway 200, and then it goes up to Highway 2. If you took east on Highway 2, you'd head over to Glacier, but we will head west on Highway 2. And we will head to Bonner's Ferry, which is right on the border of Canada. And then from there, we'll take 95 south. And that 95 south goes right back to Sandpoint. So it's a big loop. Look at the blog. We'll have our route that we track. It's pretty much when you get on Highway 56 in Montana from Clark Fork, it is pretty much all national forest. They call it the booze cruise because when you get to Clark Fork, there's a bar. Then when you get to Highway 56 in Montana, where you take the left to go north, there's another bar. And then halfway up Route 2, you come into an alpine lake that has a place called Halfway Bar and Grill. We have just ate lunch there, and we're just past there. We found a cool spot on Forest Service Road, and we are up by a creek, pulled over with the dogs. Now, this is our third or fourth spot that I pinned to be able to find. This is far the coolest spot so far.
Yeah. We've already stopped earlier today before we had lunch to kind of let the dogs run and play. That was a cool spot. I can't even remember the name of it, but of course it'll be on our blog. After we got into Montana, beautiful forest area, and we got a little bit of a sun shower while we were hanging out there. And then we got back on the road after the dogs had gotten their energy out, had lunch at the Halfway House Bar and Grill, and drove about 20 more minutes until we saw this Forest Service Road. And I think this one's Camp Creek. We drove all the way to the top. There was somebody at the top, and it looked like there was a short little trail to get to the creek from there. So that would have been a really cool spot. But we didn't want to bug anybody, and we like to have our privacy. So we came down again, and then we found just over the first bridge. If you're coming from the top, it's the first bridge. On the right-hand side was a pull-off, and James backed in all the way to the back, and it's all along the creek. So we went and played in the creek for a little while. We'll have pictures of us and the dogs playing in the creek.
And this spot,
ice cold water,
really snow melt. But I'll have this spot pinned, and this is pretty close to just off the highway. We probably drove up 5-6 miles to the top of this mountain, but this is probably only 2 miles in. And we seen a Forest Service truck pulling out of a spot that looked like an actual camp spot. So when we get down closer to the main road 56, we will check out that spot to see if it's worthy of us pinning that spot too, because that might be a great camp spot.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're parked now is really just another fire service road that comes up that is really closed, and it has a gate. But it has a long driveway getting up to the gate. So I backed all the way up, and we got out, and it's really comfortable right along the creek. And the creek Jules went over her head. So in a couple spots, it's waist high, but the rocks were super slippery.
Yeah.
I only went up probably, I got my shorts wet.
Yeah.
The tip of my shorts wet just above my knees. And that's what I felt safe doing. The water is gushing pretty good, but what a beautiful spot. Again, this is bear country. Make sure all the food is locked up in the bear canisters and all that fun stuff. So we have not
seen one.
The only thing that we've seen on this whole trip is grouse.
Yeah, butterflies, lots and lots of pretty butterflies.
So we're still, hoping that we see something. that we're going to be able to bring to you by the time we're done on this. I'm pretty sure from Sandpoint, you do this loop. If you didn't stop at a bar, like, they call it the locals call it the booze cruise, because it's all national forest and just back roads, but cement roads, like you could bring a camper, a lot of pull-offs that say recreational camping, recreational sites, pay for camping, state park, not state parks, national park.
There's an abundance of playground out here.
Yeah, so there was a lot of spots to stop, but we'll put it up there on our blog. One of the things that I've been doing lately, because I was behind on listening, I make the episodes. I have nothing to do with really the blog, but I help record the episodes, and I've been trying to pay attention and listen to them after they go live. And one of the things I found is I like it better to actually read the blog than listen to the episode. And it kind of just makes more sense and gives you more dialogue to kind of know what you're going to be listening to before you listen.
Yeah, in the episodes, we're kind of giving our feelings on the place. It's hard for us to keep the facts straight. But if you follow the blog, then you get the facts. I definitely don't recommend traveling to anywhere without having seen our blog first, because sometimes we say something and our facts aren't exact, and I'm able to nail them down better. I'm especially pinning the locations on the map.
Like right now, we are completely no service.
Yeah.
So we're tracking it on a tracker, which we had service when we started, but everything might not be exact just because we're in a no service zone. And we've been in a no service zone. We left the house
most
at
of the
10
day,
this morning, but by 11:30, we had no phone reception. And it's going on 3:00 right now. And we stopped to take this break, let the dogs go swimming, and try to get some reporting done while the dogs play, get their energy. We probably might only stop one more time, because in Sandpoint right now, they're going to be doing construction at night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And they call it the Long Bridge, but we're trying to get across the Long Bridge before the construction starts on the Long Bridge.
Yep.
So, but we will continue to record, and we might even record while we're driving.
Yeah, we just wanted to bring you kind of how far our day has gone and feelings of where we're at and how beautiful it is. Because sometimes once we get home and we try to talk about it, you're just not immersed in it anymore. So it's kind of hard to capture how it felt to be in the moment.
And these are thick, luscious woods, like hard to hike even down to the
Oh, you're not
creek.
bushwhacking shit. Yeah, you're finding an already established trail for sure.
So and then when you're driving, you have mountain ranges on both sides of you that when you look on the map, some of them go up 7,500 feet. And I think Sandpoint sits at just like 2,500 feet or 3,000 feet. So you're significantly going up in elevation and heading really straight for the Canadian border is what we're doing. And when we get to Route 2, it will be west will head us back to 95 South, or east would head us over to Glacier National Park, which we will be heading toward a little later, beginning of next month, I guess. In September, we're going to be heading to Glacier.
Yep. Yeah, we're getting ready to hit the road again. We got 5 weeks until
roughly 5 weeks before we leave northern Idaho. We're going to leave the baby and head home, but we are going to take the long way home and go to Glacier. We're going to go to Red Lodge, Montana. We have some friends there. That's just outside of Yellowstone.
Cody, Wyoming.
Yeah, and then we're going to head south, go through Yellowstone, and go through Grand Tetons, Utah, North Rim, home. Kind of exciting. And we're going to take probably 3 weeks to get home. It all depends. We start traveling. Who knows? It's, first week of October, we could get a snowstorm. Who knows? We don't think we're going to get bad weather. We're hoping it's going to be perfect weather, and it's going to be a little bit of foliage coming through. Because we're going to be all the way to Glacier and going all the way to the south rim of the Grand Canyon where our home is. So we're hoping it's going to be spectacular. It's going to be the last couple of weeks of September, first week of October. And so we're not exactly sure when we're leaving. So I say the last couple of weeks of September. We might not leave Idaho till the 25th. But right now our plan's to leave the week of the 16th through like the 20th. Somewhere along there, we're going to leave here and head out.
I think we're going to get back to enjoying the forest for now. And we'll continue on here in the next couple of hours or in the next couple of days and give you guys the remainder of our experience out here.
This is one spot. There's one episode. You really want to tune in if you're in the Idaho area. we're going to have some great pictures on the blog of this day, basically.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of fun parts to the day. So talk to you soon.
All right, we are back. So we are in the middle of doing the quote unquote booze cruise. And we took a break because, well, we needed to finish it. And we had spent the entire, what it ended up being a 9-hour day.
9-hour day,
9-hour day, yeah.
to do the booze cruise, but we did it pretty slow. But after we recorded the first bit, we ended up just driving straight home from there, trying to beat that construction.
That never happened. It delayed a week, didn't it? Yeah.
So, but then I went to work, and the guy I worked for needed me to pick something up in Bonners Ferry. So we actually retraced our steps. And when I was looking at the area, getting ready, I noticed Kootenai Falls and Expansion Bridge, and it was only like 2 to 3 miles
off the route
from the booze cruise. So when you do the booze cruise from Sandpoint, you take the 200, and then you get on the 56 in Montana, heading north through the Cabinet and Mountain Ranges. You take the 56 to Route 2, and you get to that intersection on Route 2. If you go east, you're heading toward Glacier, and then 2-3 miles up on the left-hand side, they have the Kootenai River, Kootenai Falls, and then the Kootenai Expansion Bridge.
The trailhead.
And the trailhead, because you got to walk the trail to get to it, which was a pretty cool walk. When we visited Bonners Ferry to pick up some stuff I needed for work, before we picked up the stuff I needed for work, we went back to where Route 2 and 56 intersection is, and then we did the 2-3 miles past to Kootenai Falls, walked the trail, checked out the falls, checked out the river. That is really a massive, beautiful, crystal clear water, and went to the Expansion Bridge. It looked a little scary, but after you get on it, it does move a lot, but it feels safe. Mm-hmm. So we went across the bridge and then came back and then hiked back up to the car. We thought we were going to get ice cream, but they had a little recreation stand there that
not a recreation stand. What is it called?
Concession stand.
Concession stand, yeah.
So it had bathrooms and it had a concession stand. When I was checking out the area, it said they had ice cream.
We were very excited for this ice cream, let me tell you.
So we go to the stand, and the sign said it was closed because of bees, which was crazy.
The bees have been a nuisance since we've been here. The yellow jackets are
really since
terrible.
The end of July, August.
Yeah. But while we've been here,
since the bees started coming out, we've captured a lot of bees at the house. Yeah. So the bees have been bad. Everybody talks about it. I guess that's what happened when they had a mild winter.
These things are aggressive. I mean, they're apparently carnivorous, and so they just bite you. They land on you and they bite you. It is insanity. So they're not just stinging you. They're not the sting you and die bees. They're trying to eat you. It's insane.
I never had seen a concession stand or a restaurant that had been closed for bees.
That's funny. They were pretty spectacular.
The
hike was it's not a super easy hike, but it's a super short hike because it's a really rugged terrain, lots of rocks and roots and stuff. So you got to watch your footing. There is 3.5 flights of stairs that you got to climb down to get to the actual trail.
To get to the actual,
and then get back up.
To get to that bridge that you can walk across.
Yeah, and the falls, both of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So you go over the stairs. You actually cross on a bridge over the railroad tracks, and then go down a flight of stairs. That's like she said, and then the trail splits. One way goes to the bridge, the other way goes to the falls. We went to the falls first, then circled back, and then went to the bridge. One of the things that we seen a lot of signs saying how dangerous that river is.
The strong undertow.
But the undertow can keep you underwater longer than you really can be underwater if you don't strong enough to get out of that undertow. And some people just ain't. And there was 2 beaches that you could hike down into and go in the water before you're getting into the current. So the water there was amazing blue. It's a beautiful
It's
spot.
gorgeous. And
it's definitely worth visiting.
And this river's like carving through the mountains. It's just, I mean, even outside of the river itself, it's just a breathtakingly beautiful scenic area.
Yeah, you're right. The river's coming down on both sides. It's just mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty good.
It was a beautiful spot.
I'm glad we
did it. And I'm glad we went back on a different day to do it, just because we'd already taken so much time before we had gotten to that point that I don't feel like we would have had the energy to be enthusiastic enough to really enjoy the spot. So I'm glad that we did it the way that we did it. But if you know that it's there in the first place, you can pace yourself.
Yeah, well, it's just, the booze cruise is great. You got one day, you want to go check out something cool. It's good.
Beautiful scenic ride.
But it's really, you really should do one day and then camp and then finish it the next day. That's the way I think you could really even enjoy it even more.
Yeah, it's really a good excuse to go for a ride, but there's so much to explore. You need to spend the time. I agree.
So we left Kootenai Falls and we pretty much got back on the 2 and we headed west, and you really see the 56 where we came from. And then we go through a little town, Troy. We stopped there and had lunch at a place.
Main Street Perk and Pub. Cute little place. It was really well maintained, super clean, but it had a lot of the rustic antique kind of stuff throughout the restaurant. But you go into some places that have that as their decor and it feels really cluttered, like every open surface, there isn't any. They're all just covered and stuff. This was really nicely done, and it really, really cute spot. Definitely one of the unique small town local joints. So not only was it an espresso spot, it was a restaurant.
Had a drive-through.
It had a drive-through, yep.
For coffee.
Restaurant, just like paninis and things of that nature. And
Pizza,
yep. Beer by the can, though.
And on the weekend, out on their lawn, they had live music.
Yep.
And grassy area looked nice.
Yep. And it's also a tanning salon. So it was a kind of a fun, silly little small town thing. And get as many businesses as you can into one, which was fun. It was cute.
So one of the things, if you do the booze cruiser, you just take the 56 through the Cabinet Mountain Ranges. There is plenty of dispersed camping, but if you needed supplies, Troy would be the closest spot for you. And they had an Ace Hardware store. They had a grocery store. They actually had a parts store for vehicles. They had a pretty big gas station. We did not find showers in that little town, but there was a campground, Kootenai River Campground, which is on the Route 2 that did have showers.
Yeah, just beyond the town of Troy. And there's tons of established campgrounds in the area. This is just the one that caught our eye.
It's right off the highway.
Yep. If I were to guess what the main industries were in the area that we drove through the Route 2 and the 56, I would say that it's logging and camping. I mean, there was signs for campgrounds everywhere. But then, like James said, there's tons and tons and tons of dispersed camping. If you check out the map on our blog, you're going to see a million pins for National Forest Road. I mean, you just have your pick. I mean, there's just so much endless forest out there. It's insanity.
So we had lunch in Troy, and then you continue west and you go through something springs.
Moist Springs.
Moist Springs. And we had heard about Moist Springs, and then we've heard there was actually springs there, but we did not find any springs there. So we ended up just driving through. And then the next little town, or not little town, is Bonner's Ferry. That is part of the booze cruise. That's about 30 minutes from the Canadian border. And the place you're supposed to stop in Bonner's Ferry is the Best Western Premier Casino and Spa. It's like the bar you stop at there. We drove past the casino, and that spot, we did see it. It is right on Kootenai River. Town is a quaint little...
It's so cute. Bonner's Ferry is a cute little town.
Yeah, small little mountain town. We drove through there, and we pretty much just drove through there. You could go to the casino. We were told on the route that the casino is the best food. We stopped at the halfway house. The food there was good, so we decided to skip the casino. But we were told the best food was at the Best Western Premier Casino and Spa.
Now, not obviously that we advocate drinking and driving. Obviously, if you're going to do the booze cruise and actually booze it, have a designated driver. But I do think that waiting until you get to Bonner's Ferry on the last leg, especially if you stop anywhere along the way, is way too long to wait for food.
Yeah, especially if you are drinking.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the booze cruise, we did 9 hours cruising it. So if you start at the View in Cocolala.
That's where we want you to start. We want you to start at the View.
So if you have a beer at Cocolala and then you drive to Clark Fork, that's 45 minutes to get to the Clark Fork bar.
And then forget about how long it takes you to enjoy your beverage before you hit the road again.
Well, it's just what I'm trying to say is if you stick to just one drink, it's going to be one drink every hour. It's going to average out to be because the bars are so spread apart. If you have 10 beers at each bar, then, that's a different story. But if you just had one drink at each of the bars along the way, you really would only have 5 drinks and 6 or 7 hour drive. And you don't have to take 6 or 7 hours. It's really drive time is 3 hours. But if you're going to stop, the time really does get away from you, especially if you're exploring the creeks.
Oh, there's so much to
the
see.
Forest Service roads. If to spend time up there, you really need to camp up there for a couple days.
We need to camp there for a weekend or something and explore around. There's just so much wilderness, so much water. I just can't even believe. It's like every bend you come around, there's another creek, there's another lake, there's another stream. It's insanity. I just living most of my life in Arizona, it just blows my mind how much water there is up here. And we live in northern Arizona, tons and tons of pine trees, and there's mountains in Arizona, of course, but there's so much more tangible here. I mean, you're literally just surrounded cage sounds negative, but you're engulfed in mountains. I mean, you're just completely surrounded by them. They seem so tangible. It's like, oh, well, I can just from the road hike up to the top of that mountain real quick. It's just that close. They're right there. People live off the road and they're in the foothills of these mountains. They're right there. It's just crazy. It's amazing. And then how remote everything is. I mean, we even kind of, scoped out at what property is in the area. And it's just, there's so much land. It's just crazy.
I wish there was cheap land.
You wish it was cheap. It's not cheap enough for us yet. Not right now.
So anyways, we left Bonner's Ferry, and from Bonner's Ferry to back to Sandpoint, it's 45, 50 minutes. Depending on traffic. And then we call Sandpoint, but it's really Ponderay. But Sandpoint and Ponderay is like the same town.
Yeah.
It's just
the highway divides them.
Yeah. So we ended at Laughing Dog and Ponderay, which that's where we do most of our shopping because that's where the Walmart is, the Yolks grocery store. So it's kind of in the vicinity that we visit often. Laughing Dog, they accept dogs. You can bring your dog there. They have dog bowls and
tons of gear for your dogs.
Tons of gear. What I like about Laughing Dog, they also have a game room. So they don't have it open during the day, but if you go there at night, the game room's open. They have skeet ball, pinball machines. They had a couple arcade games, and then they have a pool table.
Food's pretty good.
And the beer's good, and the food is, if it's bar food, period.
Yeah.
But it was good. Everything there is pretty good.
Yeah, they do. Not only do they have a full array of different flavors and styles of, regular craft beer, but they also make ciders and they make seltzers, which is really unique, I feel like, in the craft beer world.
And this area is all about the huckleberries.
Huckleberry, everything. Yeah, it's like prickly pear back home. Yeah, and the huckleberry's really good. I enjoy it. I enjoy just about anything flavored huckleberry.
So the huckleberry beer that they had was good, and then they had a huckleberry cider that was good, and a huckleberry seltzer that was good. So huckleberry, everything around here is huckleberry.
For sure.
So along the cruise, there was many great spots that we could have stopped at more. I don't know how long you go on the booze cruise. I mean, 9 hours was it for us.
It was a long day.
And then we went 2 days later, and we left our house
to overlap the second half that we just sped through.
We left the house at 10:30, thinking Bonner's Ferry is an hour from the house. We want to check out Kootenai Falls. We Googled it. It was an hour and 40 minutes. So we're like, all right, we still thought we were going to be back at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. had plans. Again, we didn't get back till after 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
The day gets away from you. There's a lot to see, especially if you're adventurous. You can stop at a bunch of different places. And the rivers, there's the Kootenai River, but there was also the Yak River also right there. And you just see so many recreation signs when you're driving through these mountain ranges. Or really, it's just the one Cabinet Mountain Ranges.
Yeah.
And then the one on the way home, you do have the Cabinet Mountain Ranges. But then when you're driving home south of the 95, on the left-hand side or on the east side, it's the Cabinet Mountain Ranges. Or the west side, it's the Silkrin Mountains, which is Schweitzer Mountain Ski Area.
Mm.
And we're going to talk about Schweitzer Mountain, the ski area in Sandpoint.
Soon.
And we're going to there's a Colburn Lake that's up there. That's a glacier lake or alpine lake that we're going to hike up to. It's about a 5-mile hike. So we're going to talk about Schweitzer, and really we're going to really talk about even Sandpoint a little more before we head out.
Mm-hmm.
We marked a bunch of spots, and we have it mapped out for you. So if you go onto the blog, you can actually look at the map, and there's pins all along the route that we took, where we started, where we ended. Not even all the places that we stopped were pinned, but we actually pinned extra spots
we saw along
the way that we were interested to circle back and check out. We pinned them really for our viewers because there was a campground on Alpine Lake.
Oh, that campground. That is
off the 56, and campground
Door Skeels Campground.
You can say it again.
Door Skeels Campground.
And that is on the Bull Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the halfway point on the booze cruise where we stopped at the halfway house.
Yep.
That lake was beautiful. The water was cool. And that camp spot, we drove through it. We didn't camp there, but they had a boat launch there and they had some other stuff. A beach. They only really have 8 overnight campsites.
Yep.
So, and there's
toilet and potable water.
Yeah, so it's not huge, and we'll just have some pictures up there, what we did. We'll have some pictures of the waterfall, the bridge, so definitely you want to go check out the blog.
Yes, know that before you do any traveling, you should check out the blog.
But that's going to sum up our little cruise, I guess it was a big loop.
Couple of days, yeah.
Yeah, big loop. The loop was cool, and it was in the panhandle of Idaho.
Yeah.
So I had a great time. Again, thanks for listening. Till next time. Thanks for tuning in to Kerouacs Cruising.
We're thrilled to have you with us.
We had a blast recording this episode and hope you enjoyed our adventures as much as we enjoyed sharing them.
For more amazing pictures and stories, visit our website and blog at KerouacsCruising.com.
And join the conversation on Facebook at Kerouacs Cruising or email us at join@KerouacsCruising.com.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving us a review.
Your support helps us reach more listeners and allows us to continue sharing our travel experiences with you.
It's a generous favor that means the world to us.
Thank you so much for listening to Kerouacs Cruising.
Until next time, happy travels.